Hi everyone, good evening. I'm 𝐸𝐫 and I'm the moderator of today's session. So first of all, I warmly welcome you all on behalf of AI-driven Sri Lanka to our very first community talk in 2022. And today we will be discussing how to build AI apps with H2O Wave. And I hope this session would be really interesting and you will feel more comfortable and confident about H2O Wave at the end. So guys, if you have any questions during the session, you can direct them into Slido platform. And soon we will be sharing the Slido link to our chat. So without any further delay, I would like to introduce our speaker of the session. So he is Mr. Shamil Prematunga. So Shamil is currently working as a software engineer at H2O.ai, and Shamil is passionate about delivering AI-based solutions to real-world problems and sharing them with the open source community. And Shamil has completed his higher education at University of Moratuwa and initially got his work experience at Dialogue University of Moratuwa Research Laboratory as a research engineer. So now I invite Shamil Prematunga to share his expertise on how to build AI apps with H2O Wave. Shamil, now it's over to you.
Hi all, am I audible to you guys?
Yes, Shamil, you are audible.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, it's my pleasure to be with you all in this evening to share the experience of mine with this H2O Wave. Yeah, let's start it. So I'll turn off my camera since there are some signal issues. I'll share my screen meantime. Okay. So my screen is visible, right? Okay, thank you. So yeah, let's begin. So today we're gonna touch about how to develop AI applications with this H2O Wave. So H2O Wave is an open source SDK. It's very easy for new users to adopt, and let's walk through how to build an AI application using H2O Wave. So this is an introduction session. So this will touch some basics on where we can apply this H2O Wave and what are the basic components we can find out at the H2O Wave and how to write a very basic application. And I'll demonstrate a small application, how to build an application, and I'll share some experience which I had with H2O Wave on developing some industrial applications. So that's the basic flow today will be on. So yeah, at the start, we'll touch basically about this data science workflow, because AI applications is the part of our workflow. In every AI solution, there is a background behind the process we have to do regarding to this data science. So let's work on step by step. As all of you familiar, I guess you know about this basic workflow. At the beginning, now we are always trying to give a solution for an existing issue. So that's why we are trying to use AI in an application level. So if we are trying to fix a solution, fix a problem, we need to know about the background of that problem. So we need to know what's the thing that we need to solve and what depends on that main target. So according to that, at the early stage, in the data procurement stage, we need to collect data, raw data, which related to our scope. So if we assume we are giving a solution for an some housing loan process to make it easy, so we need to know what are the dependents of this housing loan process, and we need to identify what are the data that we need to collect to develop this kind of application. So according to that, at the early stage, we need to collect data from several resources. So we can follow several methods for that. We can collect them from available databases, or we can run some online scraping methods to collect data. So at the end, what we have is we have several set of raw data which are collected from several resources. But those are raw data, but we cannot use those data in the application or anywhere else because we don't have any meaning for that data. So what we have to do is we have to prepare those data next after we collected them. So at that stage, we have to clean those data, kind of removing these null values or doing some necessary operations to fill those null values and take them into one table. So those cleaning processes should be done after collecting those raw data. And after that, we need to perform this feature engineering stuff, because now we have an idea what should be our target and what are the features that affect for that target. So according to that, we have to perform some several operations and figure out which features mostly affect for this target, like getting some correlation matrices, and we can remove some features which are not affecting for our target, and we can create new features by existing ones to improve the performance. So likewise, we need to play around with these existing features and finalize our data to be used in our next steps. So at the end of that feature engineering stuff, now we have some polished data. And next, what we have to do is the model training part. So that means we have to create a model and train it with the data that we prepared in previous step to be used in the application level. So that model selection part also depends on our application. So that might be a classification problem or might be a regression problem. According to that, we need to figure out which model should be used. And we have to train them with our data and check the performance of the model. So we can use multiple models parallelly and check which model gives the best performance. And at the finally, we can figure out what are the hyperparameter values that mostly match with that selected model to use in the application. So after the end of this model outcome stage, now that's the place that we have to deploy that model and get some use from it. So that's the place where this application level is rising. So what's the problem in it? That means now that's the basic flow. So while going through this process, this is the same process that I have mentioned earlier. So here at the end, after the model is created, the interpretation stage, that's we need to do in much clear manner, because we need to express what we did in early stages clearly to the client or the one who using these models in applications. So if as a data scientist, we have knowledge on what we did on early stages, but we don't, the clients don't have much knowledge on that to understand. So it's kind of black box to them. So we need a proper way to illustrate what we have done in the early stages and what's really happening in behind them. And to give a good experience, we need to do this interpretation part very clearly. So that's what the place this AI application acting. So for that, we can take two solutions. That means we can hire a dedicated software engineer, software developer to do this task. But what happens is, as a software developer, they might have clear knowledge on web concepts and those kind of things. So there is a gap. So data scientists need to pay much effort to describe what they have done, and software developer also have to pay much effort to fulfill this task. So that's a bit hard when we go through this route. So the next way that we can do is, as data scientists, we can do it by ourselves. So it's really cool because we don't need to pay much attention, much effort. to fulfill this while going through this data science workflow. Data scientists themselves can create an application and describe what happens behind the scene. So that's the path that we should select when you're going forward. And for that, there are some existing tools that we can figure out. Mainly, we can use PowerPoint. So as I'm doing right now, you can show things that you created through Jupyter Notebook. So somewhere else, you can put them into the PowerPoint, and you can express to the users. But what happens is it's too static. It's very hard to interact with those results, and the users will not that much feel what's that's represents. So that's bit static. And another existing tool that is we can use Jupyter Notebook. So that also we can use them to use it to test some unit-wise performances. But when it comes to the production level, that also not that much up to level to interact with the users and give the best performance to the users. And also there are some business intelligence tools which we can use to fulfill this task. That's good, but it also has some limited flexibilities. Therefore, that's also lagging behind when we are talking about the solutions. Next, there are Python frameworks. Examples like what happens is the developer must have lots of web concept knowledge with them. So some front-end knowledge, front-end development knowledge, those kind of knowledge should have with the developer. So again, it raises that problem because data scientists do not have much knowledge on those concepts. It's a bit hard to work with that framework also. So that's the place where Wave is coming to rescue. So what if I told you that it's possible to build a web application, nothing but using Python? It's cool, right? Because data scientists always works with Python or R language. Now it's supportive for R language too. So if you know Python or R language, you can develop a web application by using this open source SDK. So that's the main benefit which we get through this SDK. And it's really funny to work with H2O Wave. So you will experience it in a few minutes. So I'll demonstrate in a few minutes how to work with it. So yeah, if you know Python, you can work with Wave. So what's this Wave? Wave is a framework for developers to create this interactive applications. It has these real-time capabilities. In right-hand side, you can see while changing the code base, it is updating, so it's real-time. It has real-time capabilities. It gives good experience to the developer, and it helps to create this interactive application. So the user always can interact with this application. And also it supports for this all Python libraries, and we don't need to have knowledge on HTML, CSS, JavaScript. No, we don't need that knowledge. We can, but still we can create these web applications. So that's the main benefit with this H2O Wave. And to get a high-level understanding how this works, we have to run Wave server. So in any deployment environment, even in local or any cloud environment, we need to run Wave server to work with this application. So it holds collection of pages. So it has collection of pages, and each page can have one or more cards with different types of content. So in right hand side, you can see this is called one page. So in this page, you can see there are several cards in a rectangular format. So those are the cards which are containing those content information. So in the server, it holds these kind of pages. In each page, it has multiple number of cards with it. So developers can refer to particular page and particular card and add their content and just save their particular URL. So browser pointing to your application can get these updates automatically in real time. So you no need to refresh your browser in each time when you are developing. So it gives really easy for developer because they don't need to do much changes to check their deployment. So they can constantly do their developments and see how it's reflect it into the client's environment. So that's how it basically works in high level. Next, when you come into how to build this. So I mentioned previously, if you know the Python, yes, you can create a web application, AI-based web application. So apart from that, we need to know what are these components we have with H2O Wave. So if you know these concepts, if you know Python language, yeah, still you can develop your own application and give the solution for the existing problem. So let's move forward one by one. Here, first concept is the site. So it's also known as the web server is it stores this content as pages, and this site is addressed in localhost in the port 10.10.1. So once you run web server in local, and when you access this site in the browser, you will see the wave is up and running. So that's the web server. And also we can run multiple applications in single site. So since the server is holding multiple pages, we can run multiple applications in same time. Just we need to do is we need to mention which page that we need to access at the end of this URL. So you can experience it in the demo session. I'll tell it again at that stage. So here for this purpose, we are using this query object. So the query object is the reference to browsers to interact with the server. So that's the query object we are using to make this connection in between server and the client. And when coming into pages, now in web server, it holds a multiple number of pages. So in page, it's a place where the information are containing. So that's the collections of information saved on web server. So developers add content to specific pages. So these contents might be some static things like labels, topics, kind of things, and there might be contents like of real-time updating sessions like dashboards, and also there are some content which have interactive applications. That means that might have buttons, drop down, these text boxes, kind of contents are there. So these contents are containing in these pages. And as I mentioned previously, for each page, we need to specifically mention that which page we need to access in the client. So this is the root site that you can access, and in the web server, it has multiple pages. For each page, we have to name it. So when we need to access the particular page, we need to add that page name at the end of the URL. So that's the way, that's the convention we need to work with the pages. So this is the convention that we need to use within the code base. So you can see it in the demo session. We need to use this app decorator, and we need to name the page name at within the brackets. And next we comes into the cards. So now Wave server had multiple pages in each page. So cards are the blocks of contents of a specific web page. So it's kind of rectangular blocks within the page. So there are hundreds of card types we have with the Wave. So each card have the capabilities to perform in several ways. So as you can see in right hand side, there are some form cards that perform in several ways, and content cards are there, graphic cards which are built to show some plots and graphs, and control cards are there, navigation panels, headers, footers. So likewise, according to the task, we have several categories of cards with Wave. So when you are using the card within the page, we just need to follow this convention. Just need to name the card and add particular content to that card. Next, when we come into the layout session, multiple cards. Now we have to lay out them within that page. That means we have to position them within the page to give a best experience to the user. So that's basically by default following this grid-based system. So it's designed for this HD displays, and it's divided those pixels into grids as 12 columns and 10 rows. That means the single page is divided into this grid. So when we are adding a card, we need to specifically mention at which place that we need to locate this card. So at that in that argument, we need to pass these 4 values. So first value is the column number, and second one is the row number, and third one is the width and the height. So by mentioning these parameters, we can locate the card in that particular page. So, and also we have this flexible layout methods. You can refer to the documentation. I'll show you it in next slides. We can create kind of flexible layouts also. And next thing is it's a UI elements. So in every web application we have these kind of components, buttons, checkbox, data pickers kind of things, and there are some contents. So those are also capable to use in H2O Wave applications. So we don't need to know any HTML kind of things to add those contents. We can directly import those values, those content within to our cards. So those UI elements are for several purposes. Some cards like content elements are to display the informations to the user, and there are some inputs that ask user to give information, and also some UI elements are for users to navigate throughout the application. So likewise, for each and every purpose, we have UI elements within the Wave SDK. And at the last, there is an method, there is an concept called query arguments. So I'll explain it briefly. So query argument means when the user interact with the application, what have been done by the user. That means if user clicked a button, that should be notified to the application to perform a separate task for that purpose. And if user entered some text onto the text box, that should also be notified in the application. So every interaction is stored in these query arguments. So there is a serve function within the application. That's the main function which we use within the web applications. So each and every time when user interact with the application, these query arguments are going to be updated, and the serve function is firing each and every time. So the application time when the user interacted with the application. So that will help us to give better performance throughout the application. So all in summary, this is what we can see at the end. We have the site at the end. It has the page name. So this is the my page, which showed, and it has several cards. Header card is there and two other cards is here. And each card, it has the UI elements as contents showed in the page. So likewise, you can create this web application. Okay, when we come into writing application, as I mentioned previously, we need only to know the Python. So we can use Python files to write your code base. So apart from that, you need to have a text editor and the terminal to run the application. But the best way to use this is running those things in the IDE, because we H2O have separate plugins have created for this IDEs, so you can make better experience when you are developing application, because there are auto suggestion capabilities are there with that plugin. So you no need to keep you no need to memorize anything, and you can use those plugins to work really easy with H2O Wave. And again, about these Jupyter notebooks, it's ideal for scripts and testing components of the application, but it's not giving best interactive end-to-end interactive experience to the user. So the best way is to use this kind of IDE and write your code. Here are the basic skeletons that you can find out. So this is the one that very basic web application that we can create. So as programmers, you might know that we are running a hello world program in every language at the beginning. Likewise, this is the hello world program that we can test with the H2O Wave. So we have to install H2O Wave Python library in our environment. After that, after creating this code base to run the application, we just need to execute this command. Just wave run and give the Python file name. And if it's running as a script, yes, you can run it same as other typical Python files. So Python and give those application outputs in the particular web page. Right. We quickly move on to the demo session. I'm using this PyCharm IDE. Yeah. So this is the site. Okay. So yeah, let's start with the demonstration. First, we need to create a new project. So I'm creating a fresh project. Here, I'll rename the project. Let's demo one. Yeah, you need to create the virtual environment meantime. So because we have to install these packages separately in our environment. So meantime, you are creating the new project, you have to create the virtual environment as well. So you need to have 3 version Python to work with the Wave. And let's create the new project. Yeah, now you can see it's my project and it has this virtual environment. So next, what we need to do is simply open the terminal, and now we are in this virtual environment. It's activated. We just need to install H2O Wave library. So for this, I'll use 0.20.0 version, but the latest one is the 22.0. For the demonstration purpose, I'll use H20. Yeah. Now what happens is wave library is downloaded. Now you can see the waved component is here. So that's the wave server that we need to run. So need to mention that from the version H2O wave version 0.20.0 onwards, you no need to manually download and run the wave server. It doing by itself. So if you are trying with an old version, you need to download wave server manually and run it by yourself within the project. So now since we are using this 0.20.0, you no need to download and run wave server manually. Now it's within your project. Right. So now next we have to start with simple code. I'll name it as app.py. Okay. So in PyCharm or in if you are using VS Code, in VS Code you can find out the plugin section. So in plugin section, you can search and find this H2O Wave plugin is there. So you have to install it in your IDE, so you can get the benefits of this plugin when you are in development stage. So I'm already downloaded. Right. Now, with the use of this plugin, if you don't know anything to start with, but you want to start as a beginner, yes, this plugin is suggesting content for you. So what we need to do is we just need to type W and underscore. Here it will suggest what we can start with. So many things are there. So for now, I'll start with this app base. So this is the basic wave application that we can create, which I showed previously. So here you can see this is the kind of hello world application that we have. Now wave server is here with us. The next component which I mentioned in the presentation is the page name. So we need to name this page, and I name it as my page. Right, now we have page name also. Next, what we have to do is we need to display content. So content should be within a card. So for that, I'll create a card here. Yes. Just what you need to do is, as I mentioned in the presentation, you need to name the card in this syntax. That means for this page, the card is card name. And for this card, we need to allocate the content. So I mentioned that there are hundreds of card types are there. So since we are going to display small text here now, I'll work with form cards. So here, yeah, since I don't know, I'm not memorizing the parameters, that arguments that we need to pass to this form card, I'm using this plugin. And once I type in W form, you can see there are two suggestions. One thing is the minimal version and the other one is the full version. The minimal version is the thing that contains the compulsory arguments, and the full contains the all optional arguments also. So as a start, I'll go move forward with this minimal argument. So here you can see in this particular card, we going to place these items. So the next element you might know, you might remember the layout. So we need to place this card within this page in a particular location. So I mentioned that we need to pass 4 parameters to locate the card. First thing is column number and row number, width and height. So I start with first row, first column, and 2 units of width and 2 units of height. So this is the way we can position our card, layout our card. And next, in the item section, we need to place items that we need to show. So since we are going to show a text, I call for text. Yes. So here we can place our content. Right, that's all. So this is the very basic web application that we can create, and it contains all the components that I mentioned in the presentation. So next we have to run this application. So simply what we need to do is just run wave run and the particular app name. Then what happens is it starts this wave server. Since the server is within our project, it's starting the server and application is ready to use. Now here you can see in the URL, it's only the basic site is there, localhost 10.10.1, page name at the end. So our page is my page. We need to mention that at the end of this site. So I'll type it there. Here now you can see our output. So this is the way that we can start with web applications. So I'll move forward soon. Now this is just a content, displaying content, but user cannot interact with it. So if we need to interact with user, we can add a component like button. So we need to place this name argument in the components where users are going to interact. Since users not going to interact with text kind of things, we don't have this argument. But button is the component that user going to interact with. We have to mention this name to handle those interactions. So I'll name it as btn1, and we can place a label to the button. So I'll just type as click me. So to show the real-time capabilities, now I just edited the code. Now I'm going to save it. I did refresh the browser, but the changes are always reflecting in the browser. So and another thing I can show from here is once user interacting with this UI. So once user clicking this button, you can see the log is updating in each and every time. So what happens is when user interacting with this application, each and every time the serve function is firing. That means these all contents are running each and every time when user interacts with the application. So you might remember I mentioned about query arguments. So I can demonstrate that in this way. So if q.args, so this is the place where query arguments are stored, and we have named this button name as btn1. So what this means is if button is clicked, we can create another card like this. So I'll rename this card as card2. I'll show as button clicked. Now what happens is when the button clicked, this card is going to be created. Let's try it. Here you can see the button clicked card is popped up, but it's overlapped. What's the reason? The reason is we locate the new card also in same location. So I'll move this card location by changing the column number. Since we started with column number 1 and we will be started with column number 3. So here, once user click the button, the new card is creating. So in this demonstration, I hope you got the concepts that I mentioned previously within the presentation. So you can go through the documentation. I'll show it here. This is our documentation, and there are multiple number of examples you can work around with. You just need to copy and paste this content to the page and just run the application. So there are kind of plots are there, statistic methods are there, kind of forms are there. There are several types of tables. So each and every component you can clearly find out with the code base within this documentation. So that might be useful for you to learn further. Okay, so let's move forward to the end of the presentation. So I'll mention about some use cases that we can use this H2O Wave. You can create some proof of concepts or toy applications with this H2O Wave. So this is one of the application I have created. You can see this is the home loan prediction application that I have created with H2O Wave. It's just a simple form. So you just need to fill those areas with relevant information. So these kind of processes are normally happening in the bank. So if those people processing that manually, here you can see once the data are submitted, you can see, sorry, you are not eligible for the home loan. So the process is happening in backend and it gives the result for you. So what I mentioned was, if you are even in bank sector, if you are using this kind of thing manually, it's very easy to find a solution with H2O Wave to quickly resolve them. So for this application, I used this home loan prediction data set, which is available in Kaggle. So in data science workflow, this is the basic step I mentioned previously to collect data. It's in here, and we need to perform this pre-processing stuff. So I performed the steps which is mentioned here to create a proper output. And this is the code base that I have created in H2O Wave. So in this Wave application, in data section, these are the models that I have created by using those data. And by using one model, I have created this application. So it's well organized rather than the simple applications, because this is an kind of big application. So yeah, you can create this kind of proof of concepts by using a H2O Wave and find solutions for the existing real-time problems. And next thing is you can develop this kind of real-time dashboards. It also really cool, because H2O Wave has these every types of statistic gauges. You can show statistics easily, and also you can create this production level application. So this is one application that H2O has themselves. So to note, these applications are not developed by software engineers. These applications are developed by data scientists. So that will prove that you can work very easily with this SDK to develop your own AI application. And at the last, once you develop your AI application, there should be a place to deploy the application and use it. So yeah, it's supportive in anywhere. It's supportive in Heroku, in AWS instances, in any virtual machine. And also finally, H2O has the enterprise solution, our cloud solution. You can deploy it in H2O AI cloud and experience it. So many other tools you can access. So anyone can experience it, because it is in it has some trial period. You can log into it and experience this H2O AI cloud as well. So this is the H2O AI cloud app store. Here you can see there are multiple number of applications are there, and you also can place your application here in App Store and check it. So yeah, that's the basic flow that I have planned to work with today. And these are the useful resources that might be help for you in future. So this is the Wave repository, because this is an open source project. The repo is in public, you can access it. Has solution for each and every problem of yours. So if you have any problem, you can ping there, you will definitely get an answer quickly. And this is the docs link that I have shown you previously. It has each and every content for everything you need to know to start with H2O Wave. And also it has some public open source applications, so you can clone it from here. It has hundreds of applications you can run in locally and get experience with Wave. And finally, this is the cloud URL which I shown in previously. Yeah, so I hope you got an basic idea about what's this Wave and how it acts. So anyone can start with it, and you can try to give a solution for existing problem through AI. Yeah, Kavindi, over to you, and thank you.
Thank you, Shamil. Now we can move to Q&A session. So we can go to Slido.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Can we combine this with SQL databases? Yes, sure. You can access SQL databases queries, and you can integrate them with the H2O Wave. So yeah, it's capable. Yes, it's can we combine the with Keras saved models? Yes, it's supportive for Keras saved models. Since this is using with Python, everything you are using with Python, you can implement within here. Right. One guy have asked that what are the options for customizing UI of web website background? Yeah. Here I need to mention most of that each and every CSS parts have been done for you from the H2O Wave. So if you need to change these backgrounds and background colors and kind of things, yes, it's capable. Yes, let me share my screen for that. Am I okay, Kavindi?
Yeah, Shamil. Yeah, you can.
Thank you. Yes, here you can see this is the basic code that I have used in last section. And if we need to update this background color kind of thing, yes, you can use, we have separate card for that. So this is the meta card. So this card is not going to display any information in client side. So this is the place that we can add those kind of changes to the UI component. So you can create a theme within this meta card. So in that you can put the text colors, card colors, and page colors. So you can edit them from your side. And yes, you can try it. I'll show it. Give me a second. Here you can see it has different colors, and you can change them by this kind of meta card informations. So yes, it's capable for you, but if you don't know them, it's fine. it's already done for you. So that's an optional. If you really need to do those kind of changes, yes, it's capable. Yes, there are YouTube tutorials. You can visit to our H2O AI official YouTube channel, and contents are there. Yeah, is there a separate way to create models? Of course, you can use basically data science scientists can use several methods to create AI ML models. So we can use them within our web applications. We can use any of them. In meantime, we have H2O. We have separate products for that also, like driverless AI. You can search it in internet if you are interested. So in this driverless AI, you can just import your data set, and it automatically run experiment and give you a suitable model out of many models with the tuned hyperparameters. So you can download them and use it in anywhere. So there are that kind of solutions too. So yes, there are separate ways to create ML models. Right. Another guy is asking that how to run wave server manually if you are running the old wave SDK. So yes, for that also, I'll share. Yeah, can I share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
Here in the documentation, in the installation section, yeah, here in the installation section, you can find download wave is here. So it has wave server every number of versions. So if you are using an old version, you can select it according to your OS, and then the compressed file is downloading, and you can unzip it, and once you unzip it, it will show like this. So this is the one that you can download manually, and to run it, what you have to do is you have to open the terminal from there, and just you have to run is just run this command /wavely. So since our server is running in the local, stop. Let me stop it. Yeah, now you can see. Yeah, here once we run this command, the wave server is running manually. So here we no need to run it through the application. So you just can run wave app here. Now here you can see, as previously, these messages was not here when we are running server in manually. So here this is happened since because the server is running manually. So that's the way we can run server manually. Yes. Yes, another one is what's the difference between wave script and wave app? So that's the thing. Yeah, wave app means it's the simple answer. So wave apps is the one that users can interact with. That means which we have this user interactive elements like buttons kind of things. Yes, those are the things we known as wave apps, and wave scripts are the kind of things that only displaying some data for the user. So if we are developing a kind of dashboard, yes, we can write the code as the script. That's the main difference of wave script and wave app. And what are the similar products that customers may be using? Yeah, some I mentioned some in the presentation. Apart from that, there are tools like Streamlit and Streamlit is there, and Flask is there. So what's the specialties now? When we talk about Streamlit, it's easy to get started, but the performance is very less and less control. And if we talk about Flask, it's backend only. So still the user need the knowledge on front-end stuff like HTML, CSS, or JavaScript to finalize the application. All of these problems. So yeah. All right. Another good question is how H2O Wave leads from other business intelligence tools. What are the pros and cons of the waves? Yeah. Business intelligence tools are mostly using in companies. As I know, most data scientists are working with these business intelligence tools to fulfill this task. So you guys can try out Wave and Wave to overcome your issues simply, because the main differences which I can mention with existing BI tools is the Wave is an open source Python development framework. So we can create interactive application using Wave. Even we don't have this front-end knowledge, but existing BI tools are application softwares. That means we have to buy them by paid, most of them. Next thing which I can mention is with Wave. So with Wave, the control is in our hand. So we can create our own way to visualize, our own way to summarize things, and our own way to give best performance to the user. But in BI tools, we have to rely on features what they provide. So yeah, that's the main differences I see in between BI tools and Wave, and that's how Wave leads from it. Yes, apart from that, I'll pick some basic questions. Is H2O Wave is a BI tool? Yeah, kind of, because but it's more than a BI tool, because it's as I mentioned previously in my previous answer also mentions this thing. It can do more than existing BI tool. So yeah, that's like I can mention for that. Any advice for beginner in data science? Yeah, cool. So I also started as a beginner. So the basic thing is you need to know basic concepts in data science. I'm also started from the scratch. So data science, you can use online courses if you are interested, like Kaggle. Kaggle has many basic courses you can freely access. So there, once you build your fundamentals, you can move forward. So in each and every course, it has the same fundamental. So the thing you need to basically do is create a very solid fundamental knowledge on data science. Apart from that, the way you can improve yourself with that knowledge is always you need to try to build something. That means uh, in the purpose of learning data science, that's not the way to always follow the courses and grab the knowledge. You have to implement them in some way. So I actually I use this H2O Wave to improve my data science knowledge, because I was a beginner when I was starting with this H2O Wave, and I could quickly give an output. That means I quickly visualize these data science concepts using H2O Wave. So you as a beginner can try with this H2O Wave, and that is a good push for you to improve your knowledge. Yeah. Can you tell us about H2O? Yeah. H2O is an company that leading company in AI infrastructure. So the main enterprise solution that we are providing is H2O AI Cloud. So H2O AI Cloud is the platform that you can host your AI applications, and in that platform, yes, you can you have multiple various kind of you can access multiple applications in that cloud. So if I tell like this, now when you're starting from beginning to end of the machine learning pipeline, we have to pass through each and every stage. That means we have to develop models, and to the models how those outputs are drifting. So for each and every part, we have products within us. So H2AI is working on that, and we have driverless AI to create models and kind of things. We have MLOps tools to monitor the existing models, how those models are drifting time to time, and kind of vast number of tools are there. So yeah, that's the basic overview of the H2O AI. Yeah, can you tell a brief description regarding the project that showed in LinkedIn? Cool. Yeah, that's a simple application that I have created. The dataset I picked from 𝐾𝐻, it's already in there. You can find out it as home loan prediction dataset. Then there is the pre-processing steps also there. So by getting those data from the 𝐾𝐻, and I perform dataset pre-processing with those steps. Then what I have done is at the end, I created the model using sklearn and save the model separately. And I import that model and create a simple web application. So that's what happening is it gets the user input from the form that I have created. And once the submit button is clicked, I collect those inputs and I feed those to the model which I have already within my project, and I get the output and display it in the UI. So very simple thing. It give attractive output due to this H2O Wave. So we can do same thing in Jupyter Notebook, but it's not that much feels to the user. So due to this interactiveness of this H2O Wave, the application is give good experience to the user. So that's, I hope you got the answer. Yes, I hope I covered most of the questions. So if you have many more to know about H2O or H2O, our company, or any of our products, you can directly email me. I can cater them you later. So Kavindi, over to you. I hope everything is fine.
Thank you very much, Shamil. It was an insightful session and the demo was really interesting. So now I take this opportunity to say thank you to our speaker, Mr. Shamil Prematunga, for his immense support to make our session a successful one. And also I'm grateful to you, Shamil, for accepting our invitation and dedicating your precious time for us. So here we have a small token of appreciation for you. Please kindly accept it.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me for this awesome session.
You're most welcome, Shamil. So everyone, that's all for today. And I'm sure that you have learned something new from this session. And thank you very much for joining with AI Driven Sri Lanka. We hope to see you on our next session. Thank you.